My name is Heather Burgoyce. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in Chicago, Illinois. I work at a social service agency, provide individual, family, and couples counseling for low income families. I also provide some case management services, connecting these families to resources that they need, as well as some advocacy efforts, especially for immigrants in the Chicago community. Some answers to your questions. What are the critical issues facing students today in the transition from campus to the marketplace? I believe one of the most significant issues is making sure that you connect with the community. When we're on a college campus, especially if you're involved with the campus ministry, a community of Christians might be readily available. You might have people around you who are supporting your walk with Christ and supporting you in your faith. Whereas when you transition to the marketplace, that might not be the case. You might not have the people around you consistently supporting your faith. And so it's really important to be intentional about finding community, about seeking out a church and finding believers, finding Christians who are able to help support you in your faith all along the way. What do I love most about my calling? I love being a social worker. I like a lot of things about my job. One thing I love is the diversity of people that I get to work with and diversity of settings and environments that I can work in as a social worker. But probably the thing I like the most about my job is the opportunity that I have to see redemption happen and see God's grace in our world. The people that I work with have been through a lot of trauma and oftentimes a lot of abuse, who are struggling with mental illness, history of substance abuse, and depression. And it's amazing to see God work in their lives and to watch people grow and reconcile relationships and learn to love themselves better and learn to love their children better and learn to cope better with the challenges that they're facing and overcoming oppression. It's amazing. It really is a gift to be able to watch God work the way that He does in my clients' lives. What are the main skills employers are looking for? Employers are definitely looking for strong clinical skills as well as a passion for the work. They're also looking to see that you know what you're getting into as a social worker and that you're able to withstand the challenges that you'll face in the profession. One other thing that they're also looking for is an ability for an applicant to work cross culturally. I'm bilingual. I also speak Spanish, and I know that that's very significant to my employer. And I use my Spanish on a daily basis. More than half of my clients currently do not have English as their first language. Um, and so, through language and through other ways to communicate cultural competency, I know that that's a very important aspect that employers are looking for with applicants today. One of the greatest challenges to my faith in Jesus. A lot of times, the biggest challenge is in working with my clients who will come in looking for hope, looking for answers, looking for guidance. And I work in a secular agency, and it's not my job to communicate the gospel to them with my words. It's not the place for it. I'm able to help them, I think, in many ways, but not with my words in sharing the gospel. One thing that I can do, though, is be the gospel as best as I can be, and only by God's grace and Him working through me. I'm hoping that even though I can't communicate it with my words, that I can help these families see some of what God's love looks like. It's not only with my clients, though, that it's a challenge. Oftentimes, it's with my coworkers as well. Working in a social service agency in a secular environment, in a big city, in an urban environment, people will assume that you're fairly liberal in your perspectives, and so it takes an extra conversation. It takes being very intentional about speaking up and speaking out about my faith and having those sometimes more challenging conversations with my coworkers. So that's another challenge as well. What are people least prepared for in today's marketplace? I think that people are least prepared to fail. Our parents, coaches, teachers, every adult in your life throughout your education is preparing you to succeed. But you're not going to succeed 100% of the time. There are going to be times where you come up short, where you can't do everything perfectly the way that you anticipated you would be able to do. And so I think being able to do that well and to handle that with humility and with grace is going to be very important. It's the people who aren't able to handle that, who make mistakes and then do 100 other mistakes to try and cover up that one mistake, that end up in with bad consequences, end up with pain and with hurt. It happens on a small scale. I see it happen in families when there's failure, when there's forgiveness that needs to happen that doesn't happen. And then on a large scale, too, you see it on Wall Street. You see it when people weren't able to succeed, weren't able to do something they set out to do, and then don't handle that well, and it just becomes a bigger mess than it was to begin with. So plan to succeed, prepare to succeed, because you will, but also prepare to come up short sometimes and be able to handle that well. What are other questions students should be asking? Um, when I was looking back at the transition from campus to the marketplace, one thing I didn't anticipate, but I think was really important, was all the steps in between my transition from campus into my career. I graduated with my master's degree, and I was really excited to launch my career and get out there and do social work. And then I worked in a restaurant for 6 to 7 months, and did a lot of babysitting and applying and waiting. And I think that at the time I didn't realize what a blessing it was. But now looking back, I know that those experiences, especially the restaurant work, really helped me be the professional that I am today. I think other questions you can be asking are, how can I really value and appreciate every single step of the process? Because I think that if you don't do that, then you miss out. I think I would encourage you to really value the whole process, even all those in between steps that might not make sense at the time. Any other advice? My biggest advice is to stay balanced. Definitely be excited about your career and work hard and put yourself into your work, but also go to the beach and watch a football game and hang out with your friends and go to the movies and relax, and just make sure that you stay balanced in your work so that it doesn't become all consuming. And definitely sleep. Make sure that you sleep. That's very important as well. I hope this was helpful, and thank you so much for your time.